In the last segment this morning, we are going to be chatting to Jan Vermeulen. He's a senior journalist at MyBroadband, and they are talking about fraud and airtime theft on Vodacom's network. Are you a victim of this? If perhaps you are, then listen very clearly to what we're going to be discussing right now. Fraudsters are using a gateway developed by Vodacom to steal millions in airtime from its subscribers. So writes the MyBroadband website. Often the poorest South Africans with virtually no risk of criminal charges are the victims. Morning, Jan. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So tell us what exactly is happening here. How are people losing their airtime?
This is through a system that's been in the networks for a long time, wireless application service providers, or WASPs. And so we have these bad actors in the system called rogue WASPs that the various organizations and the operators themselves have been, to some extent, trying to fight. Now the operators might not be fighting that hard to get rid of this practice because it does make them a lot of money. And so they've been heavily criticized for what's been happening with rogue WASPs in the past. Now, they have implemented several steps to prevent this practice, but the WASPs are always seemingly a step ahead. Just when you think you've closed every possible loophole, they've figured out a way to subscribe SIMs to these premium services. And to give people an idea of what a WASP is, it's those services that cost you like R1 a day or R5 a day, and you don't even realize you've subscribed to them, but the airtime keeps getting deducted from your account. And when you query what's going on, then you get told, yeah, but you signed up for a premium rated service for whatever, weather reports or location tracking for your family or whatever, and that then gets deducted every day. And what we found, and the reports we received from industry, was that SIMs that were installed in IoT devices, literally these devices are only active on the 2G network, maybe they use SMS, they do not have a connection to the proper internet, they do not use the web, and so the normal kinds of attacks that rogue WASPs use to get people to sign up for their scammy services doesn't work on these SIMs. And we found out that there were just hordes and hordes of these machine-to-machine SIMs out there that are subscribed to WASP services where the airtime is just disappearing. And when we published that article, we got so many reports in from all over the show of people saying they've experienced exactly the same issue. And that's where these articles come from, is because every time the operators say we have defeated rogue WASPs, there are 10 people waiting to say, well, why is my airtime still disappearing?
So who exactly are these WASPs? Well, who sets them up? Are they set up from outside of the operators such as Vodacom, MTN, and whoever else, or are they within the actual companies? Where do they originate from?
Good question. Yes, so these are external companies. Now the way you can think about this system is kind of like a debit order, right? So there are problems. We're dealing with a very similar complaints in South Africa with respect to debit order fraud. And, the Payment Association of South Africa a couple of years ago went through a massive overhaul of the payment system to try and curb debit order fraud. But, but that's a story for another time. It's not quite as effective as we would have wanted it to be. But WASPs operate on exactly the same principle. You've got your airtime account, which is kind of like a bank account, and a third party can deduct money from that account if they go through the proper authorization. And this is what the WASP interface allows for, is for companies outside Vodacom and MTN, and Cell C for that matter, to set up a billing system direct into your cellular account to deduct airtime. And the thing is, there are organizations in place in South Africa, WASPA is one of them, who have very strict rules in place and a clear reporting structure in place, so that if you have a problem with a WASP, you can report them and they can be sanctioned. But the problem is, WASPs don't have to belong to WASPA to operate in South Africa or to operate on Vodacom and MTN's networks. And so what happens is you have these WASPs that just go rogue, They don't report to any kind of authority, and that your only hope is to deal with Vodacom and MTN directly to get these practices banned off their platforms.
All right, so the WASP deducts airtime from a user's account, and how does that then translate into a benefit for the operator?
The operator, and just to go back and answer your previous question very, very clearly, my apologies, these WASPs are not inside Vodacom and MTN, they are outside. And how this translates into a benefit for Vodacom and MTN is they take a cut of the airtime deduction. And so that can range, on a R1 a day deduction, that can range anything from 25% up to 50% of the fee deducted. On SMS services, it's even more.
Now, this is done, the deduction, is it done with the consent of the user, or is it done without their consent? Normally, you hear sometimes as you answer a telephone, or you ring up somebody, a different ringtone goes out there, a musical item or something, and then it says, press 1 to subscribe to this for the service. And I suspect that many may be getting caught with that because they just click 1 and then bang, you deduct it every day for the months thereafter. But is it a
right
that needs to be done by a user?
So that is ideally how the system should work, is that they have what they call a double opt-in process, right? So when you subscribe to a WASP, you are supposed to get a second notification to ask you, you're about to subscribe to this thing, are you sure? And that would have solved the rogue WASP problem, but the WASPs have found a way around it. So in this case, what we're reporting now is deductions that appear to be going off without user consent. And that's a loophole in the system, because the fact is that double opt-in should have stopped all of this, but it didn't. Somewhere these WASPs are able to deduct funds from people's accounts without the double opt-in. And yes, to your point, those phone calls are supremely irritating. They're a pet peeve of mine. And I get them on MTN, on Vodacom, wherever, where you answer the phone and then a robot voice on the other end tells you that you can get these wonderful things, just press 1. And at the very end of the call, sometimes they tell you this is a premium service, R1, R2, R5 a day, or press 9 to opt out, if you're lucky. But I've had services that don't explain that at all and don't give you the option to opt out. So yeah, these WASPs are acting with impunity, which is why people are calling for Vodacom and MTN to really sort this out, to step in to make sure that they don't have bad actors on their platforms.
And what has the operator said? What has Vodacom and MTN responded to these queries about? Have they responded to you?
So Vodacom has, and their response is quite lengthy, and I'd encourage people to go and check it out on the website. But the bottom line is, they initially strongly refuted the implication that they are enabling fraud on their network, and so they strongly spoke out against the article we did, and following our follow-up. When we did our follow-up story, they were a bit more receptive to what was going on. I think that they realized that the complaints out there are real.
Mm-hmm. And if somebody wants to, protect themselves, or now you're in this trap already and you've been billed every month, what can you do as a consumer?
Right. So this is an area that's seen massive improvements. So in the past, you could do nothing except complain and hope for the best. Complain to WASPA, complain to operator, and hope for the best. Now the operators have been basically forced to provide a mechanism to let you opt out. Now these things are buried inside menus. Depending on which operator you're on, the menu options will differ, but you'll access your operator's user menu, your USSD, or it's on the app, I believe, as well. And then you can go in there and say, manage my content settings, and then you can unsubscribe from all premium rated services. and so that's all of that's in the article as well. That'll differ from Vodacom to MTN to Cell C, but at least the operators offer you a way now to unsubscribe yourself from all these services without having to go through a rigmarole.
Jan Vermeulen from MyBroadband.co.za. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
It's a huge pleasure. Have a good show.